Hello, divas. Welcome to the second channel. I know so far it's looking a little empty over here, but I'm feeling like this is where a lot of very short form content is going to live, as well as like reactions, predictions, any sort of follow-up videos that are short in nature. Same with more conversational stuff. I think they're all gonna live on this channel. I hope you've all had a chance to check out my Hacker's Memory review over on my main channel. While I had a lot of issues with that game, I did enjoy playing it, especially as a longtime Digimon fan. The good aspects of that game I found really pleasant. It was just really long and really repetitive. I have since found out that Hacker's Memory, the complete edition of the Cyber Sleuth duology, and Digimon Survive were all developed in part because they wanted to give Time Stranger a bit more development time, and I've been a little underwhelmed by these interim projects, so I'm hoping this was all in service of making Time Stranger a stronger product. At the time of recording this, we don't have a release date, but they said it's coming this year, and people are predicting that they'll want to release it before Pokemon Legends ZA in October, which I think is plausible. They're making little announcements every single day on their Twitter, which I hate that they're doing it on that platform because I don't use it. So I just assumed that they dropped the trailer and then there was no subsequent information about Time Stranger. But then you check the Twitter and they're releasing character designs and announcing new Digimon, and it's nowhere to be found on the official website. If you check out the Time Stranger website, they don't strongly indicate that updates are going to be coming out on social media. So that was a little bit annoying, but I'm hoping that since there's regular updates almost daily on the Twitter, that these are all indications that the game is coming sooner rather than later, especially since they're trying to increase its media presence. After recently playing Hacker's Memory, I did want to share some hopes for the new game. Like I said, I'm looking forward to it. The trailers look really good, and I think at least visually, they've remedied a couple of the problems that I had with Cyber Sleuth. The Digimon look great, the areas look full and populated, the models and textures are all really nice, and I'm excited that we're going to a digital world because that felt really lacking for me in Cyber Sleuth. Overall, it's a positive thing that these games are being developed for new systems and that they've had a really long time in the oven to cook. These factors give me confidence that the game's runtime will feature a bit more variety and that things will be able to stay fresh. Obviously, we're going to be getting more Digimon. The game centers the Olympus 12, so that's really exciting. Digimon is a franchise with a lot of niche, somewhat inaccessible media, and every Digimon has lore associated with it. If you check the Digimon reference book, which is the website equivalent of the Pokédex for Digimon, usually each entry has a little story about the Digimon and how they relate to other characters in the universe. The Royal Knights idea has been iterated on a few times throughout Digimon's history, so that didn't necessarily feel fresh in Cyber Sleuth, but I really appreciate that we're getting the Olympus 12 here. According to lore, the Olympus 12 occupy a different digital server, so basically a separate digital world. It's called Iliad, obviously because it pulls from Greek mythology. So it's seeming like there won't be any affiliation with the characters of Cyber Sleuth. I'm assuming the Digimon story games will want to continue making references to themselves, so I won't be shocked if we see like Mide still running the Digilab. If it does take place in the same continuity as Cyber Sleuth, I hope we're getting minimal to no appearances from the Cyber Sleuth cast. If they're insistent on it could be interesting if those characters got aged up a little bit, but otherwise I really don't want to see them. I wouldn't mind them bringing one or two characters back. To be honest, I'd like to see Chitose have a bit more of an outing. Otherwise, the characters that I do want to see are from Digimon World Dawn and Dusk. You can choose the gender of your protagonists in these games, and in Cyber Sleuth, Sayo from Digimon World Dusk makes an appearance with Dianamon, who is a member of the Olympus 12. I'd love to see Ko in his Digimon World Dawn attire alongside Apollomon. I think it would be a fun cameo in a similar vein, but I think they could both appear in that capacity, especially since in the time that those games were released, they've introduced a new fusion of Apollomon and Dianamon called Grace Novamon. I would be really shocked if that Digimon didn't make an appearance here. It seems like a huge missed opportunity if not. So the only thing about having both of them in this game together, if Grace Novamon has a main story contribution, it would for sure be attached to them. And it's likely that Apollomon and Dianamon wouldn't have much opportunity to be unique, distinct characters, kind of like how Ulforce Vidramon was treated in Cyber Sleuth. That was another cameo based on Digimon World Redigitized, Arena being partnered with a Vmon in that universe. Like I said, they'd love to iterate on previous ideas, so I wouldn't be shocked if Dianamon and Apollomon appeared in that sort of fan servicey way through their attachment to previous protagonists. And I do think it's really fun when they gesture to older obscure games. Again, staying with the Olympus 12, they exist in a different server, but their main story in the reference book has to do with them fighting the Royal Knights in another server. I could see this being a thing if the games do connect, but I'm really hoping that it's insular and it's just about the Olympus 12. A lot of these Digimon haven't made substantial outings, so I wouldn't mind if the conflict was just between them, especially since we know Jupitermon is going to be in the game, Junomon is going to be in the game. They both have these more intense, almost evil mode changes, and I think it would be smart for the narrative to capitalize on that. Dobermon was also recently confirmed, and that's almost the same as saying that Plutomon is going to be in the game. I think earlier I said they reference ancient Greek mythology, but it's actually Roman. They use all of the Roman names. Haha, my bad. Bad YouTuber, unsubscribe, just like the video. They've already added quite a few Digimon from what we can see in trailer materials and from the Twitter announcements. Like, at this point, it would be shocking if they didn't have all of the anime armor Digivolutions from the second season. They've confirmed 3 new ones, and it would just be odd for them to not. I really want more of those final level Angel Digimon, Clavis Angemon / Angemon, Meikumon and its whole evolution line. I want some newer Digimon. Give us the Ghost Game partner Digimon. Give us some New Century original Digimon. That's a mobile game that was exclusive in China. My biggest request, though, is I want the other spirit Digimon. I really want Kazemon and their evolutions deeply. But let's just do all of the spirits. Even the evil ones, too. Not just the ones that are partnered with the main characters. There has been speculation that the whole roster from Cyber Sleuth won't be here, but I do not think that's true. I think the point of Cyber Sleuth and then Hacker's Memory being released a little bit after, a huge development benefit from those games is that you've already modeled a ton of your Digimon in 3D. It would seem almost silly to not bring them back in the roster, especially because Digivolution is nebulous. Like, one Digimon can evolve into 5 different ones, so it doesn't seem to make sense to take away from the roster, right? I'd also love some original Digimon. I think that would help make the game stand out as its own property. It seems as though narratively they're retaining some similar themes, like the main player character is still an investigator. It's interesting that you can select between genders at the beginning, and then whoever you don't pick becomes almost the sidekick. But since they are an investigator, it feels like the game is still going to be mostly case based, like it's the main character's job to investigate and solve other people's problems, and all of the quests are going to be attached to that. I do hope it's a little more balanced in terms of story quest versus side quest, because Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory feel like the opposite. It feels like the majority of time you're doing side quest content, and then you get a little bit of main story progression after doing all of the plot and essential stuff. And that concept wears off kind of quickly, especially if we're not exploring the world in a meaningful way. If they're not always doing plot essential things, but then the writing is still good, I can get into that, but that just isn't how I felt about CSHM. I'm very interested in the other lead character, Inori, being attached to Aegiomon. Aegiomon is the rookie form of Jupitermon, so obviously they're going to be at the center of the whole thing. In the previous story games, when these esteemed Digimon become a rookie level and meet a human partner, part of the game concerns getting them back to that mega level so that they can rejoin their group. This happens with Rina and All-Force Vidramon and Nokia with Omnimon. So I anticipate they're going to do the exact same thing with Inori, at least in terms of story contribution. It's pretty much inevitable that Aegiomon becomes Jupitermon, unless another Jupitermon already exists, and the point is that Aegiomon is going to be different. The protagonist has traveled back in time, hence the Time Stranger name, and they're living with Inori and her father, who is an independent detective. So it feels like, again, we have an affiliation with the police and the law, which was ever present in CSHM. It's interesting that her dad seems to have some sort of ulterior motive for letting us stay with them. I'm looking forward to seeing how that shakes out. It's a good narrative hook. The occult clubs will still be making an appearance. I didn't cover the occult club in my CSHM discussion, I kind of glossed over the soft horror aspect that CSHM kind of likes to achieve, because there's a lot of mysterious ongoings that people attribute to ghosts and urban legends, but usually a Digimon is at the center of it. It doesn't play a main plot role, which is why I didn't bring it up in my Hacker's Memory review. Also, the characters from this club use generic portraits and don't have much to do outside of their insular plot, but since they're featuring a character with a unique design so early on, it feels like this is going to take more of a central role. It feels as though they're leaning more into the magical aspect of Digimon this time around, which I think is smart and refreshing. I love it when they take a new approach to the material so that it doesn't all feel the same across the franchise. I hope that they're able to weave the occult aspect into the main story more effectively, especially since we're working with Iliad's version of gods. I'm hoping that the gods play a substantial role in whatever the occult group has going on. My biggest hope is that the story is more focused. CSHM feels really scatterbrained, and I think Digimon Survive struggled to live up to its ambition. So I'm just really hopeful that taking 10 years of development time means they're going to deliver a polished product with clean ideas that are cohesive. I've mentioned a few times that I think the game looks really beautiful. I don't doubt their ability to make compelling moments on a smaller scale. There are a lot of really impressive parts of CSHM, and they have a lot of cool ideas, but I've just found with the past couple Digimon releases, they struggle to create a sense of cohesion in their writing and execution, and subsequently struggle to stick the landing. So at present, I would say I'm cautiously optimistic. I think we'll see a lot of the same stuff as in CSHM. I think we'll be able to point to certain characters as tropes of things that have already happened, but fingers crossed that all of the development time and this game existing on new hardware and not being developed for the Vita means that they're able to do everything they need to do to make this game a really strong product. Compete with Legends ZA. Don't get beat out just because Pokemon is a bigger franchise. They have what it takes. They just need to stick the landing. I hope you enjoyed my little yap session. And if you enjoyed this sort of content, if you want me to keep covering games like this over on this channel, please let me know. And again, if you have not and you're interested, please check out my Hacker's Memory review on my main channel.